Our favorite hashtag, do not comply. The Daily Mojo.
All right, so aliens. This is a hat tip to AJ over at the Y Files, because he was doing a little discussion on his Y Files. If you don't follow AJ, I recommend you do over at the Y Files, because they
on YouTube, yeah,
on YouTube, because it is truly. He does such a
his
fabulous
latest
job.
one. I sent it to you on Friday, I think. His latest one,
Yeah, I've watched it.
freaked me the hell out.
AI is going to be, and we've got some stories on AI coming up, that it's for anybody who's ever, and I don't do this anymore because I have everything. If I try to self-diagnose,
Yep. You've got everything.
I have everything. Yeah. I've got chicken pox and everything else all at the same time. But there's an alien subreddit that was written by a man who, let's see, it's a dude and a dude who interviewed another dude in a program
who looked like a dude. Who
looked like a dude who had a cousin whose sister knew a guy, but it was essentially the recitations of a person, a molecular biologist for a national security contractor in a program to study exobiospheric organisms, or EBOs. And it is a long post on Reddit. I will not read the entire thing. I will post it out there, but it is very technical in nature. It was posted on Reddit, and apparently it was deleted several times. And it may or may not be legit. It may or may not mean anything, but in this day and age, hell, it could have been written by AI. It could have been, it's, the laboratory is, they say in this piece, is located in Fort Detrick, Maryland, in a building used for legitimate biomedical research. All of the operations were carried out in a restricted part of the basement, out of sight from regular workers. And the biosafety level, they say, is like not even as high as a, let's say, Wuhan lab, which is, I guess that makes sense, because if aliens can, land in your backyard, there's no sense in like setting the biosafety level so high, because they can go wherever they want to, right?
Well, yeah. So
the lab actually had contained EBO samples, or derived cell cultures, and they studied essentially little green men. And they released, again, this interview or this discussion with one of these guys who worked at this lab, they revealed that the genetics of these aliens, the Greys basically, are much like ours, based on DNA. And they also had junk DNA in their DNA strands. But what he says is particularly striking about the EBO genome is the uniformity of the intergenic regions. We see the same sequences repeated everywhere. The distance in BP between the genes is virtually the same throughout their genome. The result is a minimalist, highly condensed genome. Very efficient, they say. Much smaller than ours, but the quantity of protein coding genes is significantly lower than ours, probably due to genetic refinement, but also to biological processes that are absent in the EBO, the uniformity, and then he goes into a bunch of other technical jargon. The bottom line is that these little Greys, he says, are genetically modified people. Well, not people.
Humans?
Organisms.
Oh.
No, they're not humans. Greys are not human. But they are genetically grown. They're genetically designed to be like worker bees.
Drones. Yeah.
They have, clones. Clones, pretty much. They are morphologically, I said that almost like I knew what morphologically meant. Morphologically very similar to the grays that are part of modern folklore. Their height is about 150 centimeters. They have 2 arms, 2 legs, and a head. There are some notable differences. The gray skin, they say, and again, this is according to somebody who says they worked at this laboratory in Maryland. That does exist. You can Google it. So the gray skin is actually a biosynthetic film that serves to protect the little dude from a hostile environment. So it's not really their skin. It's like a little, it's like a
little suit.
Cat suit.
It's like a bodysuit.
Cat suit. Yeah. Doesn't provide enough, it doesn't provide effective protection against temperature changes, but it does offer adequate protection against the passage of liquids. So he said it's possible this film confers other advantages, but his knowledge on the subject is limited. Under the gray film, and here's where it gets weird, the epidermis is rather white. The texture is very regular without any hair. There are no defects in the skin other than the folds near the joints like we have on our elbows and knees and stuff. And the skin itself is described as greasy in one report. The report states that a strong, and here's where I mentioned the ammonia, a strong lingering smell of burnt hair and ammonia is present when the film is removed. So when they take off the little cat suit with a little gray alien suit, they smell like burnt hair and ammonia. Which, got to have me some of that. There are a lot of pores on the skin crossing from the epidermis to a gland in the hypodermis. The glands and pores are the terminal part of the excretory sudoriferous. Well, I know it means, but for those of you who don't understand what what is
means
the
it
meaning
smells
of that
bad.
word?
No,
Is that what it is?
That's odoriferous. Sorry.
Is secreting sweat. That's what it means.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's a sweat system, which would explain the previously mentioned smell. So who was it that described that the way that they ate, or they rubbed stuff on them? Remember that they rubbed stuff on their arms, and it was
took the nutrients from that.
Yeah. Where was that?
I
can't remember.
I remember us
Remember it
talking
though,
about
right?
it, but yeah.
And then, where was the poop? Did that come back out? I think it did. The head has 2 large oversized eyes, but here's where again gets weird. 2 nostrils without protuberance, a narrow slit for a mouth, no lips, 2 ear canals without auricles. There is a mandible, but it's doesn't measure up to ours. There are no teeth or tongue in the oral cavity. The nasal cavity where the nostrils meet is compact and does not rise cranially, but extends axially, which I guess means it goes inside. And there appears to be no equivalent to the olfactory bulb in the nasal cavity. The mouth leads directly to the esophagus and the nasal cavity to the trachea, and they do not communicate with each other, which means they're not like we do.
Which means
it's the same tube.
Which means
where
they
you breathe
only
and
eat from their mouth. They don't breathe through their
Right.
mouth, and they only breathe
Right.
through their nostril or nose slits.
Which, okay, that makes sense to me, because how many times have you been eating like peanuts or something?
And
you
sucked it
inhale
down
a little
into your
piece of right. So I'm going to give them kudos for actually having a better,
yeah,
slightly
but if
better
you get
design.
a stopped up nose, you're screwed.
That's true. You don't have any other way to
Nope,
go.
That's right.
But that would.
Maybe
Have
they
you
don't
ever
get
seen a gray alien with a runny
stopped
nose?
up
though?
nose? No, I haven't.
Nope, neither have I. Maybe they don't get colds. The eyes, again, because we always see them as black and shiny, they're also covered with that semi-transparent biosynthetic film, kind of like built-in sunglasses.
So that's what makes them darkish.
Yep.
Okay.
That provides protection against certain wavelengths and light intensity. When the film is removed, a more traditional eye is revealed, he says. And these are the revelations of somebody who says they worked at a bio facility in Maryland and worked on these creatures from another planet or another place. They don't say another planet because, again, they could be interdimensional. It's about 3 times larger than the human eye. There are no eyelids. Oh. The size of their eye suggests they have excellent night vision. It seems paradoxical to cover them with a semi-opaque film. Perhaps they only need to wear it in a bright environment. Again, like sunglasses. The iris is pale gray. The pupil is black and oversized. The lens is rounder than a human, and the musculature used to adjust focus is more developed. On the retina, there are at least 6 types of cone cells. The responsiveness of each of these 6 types of cones is specific to a wavelength band with a minimum of overlap between each other. The result is a broader visible spectrum. So they can see more light, see more of the spectrum of light than we can. And the ears, there are no protuberances. The ear canal, just like an ear canal, they say it's not very remarkable. The inner ear has all the characteristics of a typical vestibular and cochlear system, although the curvature of the cochlea is more pronounced than a human. Probably results in greater hearing acuity for low frequencies. So they can see better than we can. They can hear better than we can. And the brain, they say, is tetraspheric. That means it's composed of 4 major sections. The volume of the brain is about 20% superior to that of a man of the same height. It has a much more pronounced level of gyration than an average human. Well, who didn't see that coming? Am I right? How's your brain and cranial gyration these days, Ron? Is it still pretty good?
Oh no, I'm probably gyrated out a little bit, but as the older I get,
it happens. Gyration is a rapid movement in a circle or spiral, a whirling motion.
Yeah, I get sick when that happens.
Me too. I tend to throw up.
Yeah.
Right. And the neck is proportionally longer than that of a human, and at the same time, relatively thin. What if that means you could snap their little neck? So if you ever get, if they ever start like kidnapping you, if you ever start getting abducted, you just, you do one of those, what they always show in the movie where you grab them by the head and but I have a feeling if that skin thing, if the cat suit they're wearing, what if that's slippery on their head and you go to do that little twisting move, which they do in all the movies, and you're just sliding the skin around. And you don't end up breaking their neck, and then they're pissed because you tried to break their little neck.
Yeah.
You got to think of this stuff before you get
a pissed off alien.
Yeah. Well, but it didn't say whether the covering over the eye was separate from the skin covering. So you could, I guess, effectively, twist their little cat suit around and get them all whacked out. They wouldn't know which way is up. Let's see. The abdomen is wider than the thorax and bulges slightly forward. There is no navel. The pelvic bones are apparent. There are no genitals or anus. Boy, does that make them fun at a party. No genitals, no anus.
Now we know why the smell. The burnt hair.
That's because they're full of shit. Their hands have 4 digits, including an opposable thumb on the medial side. They have no nails, and the texture of their fingerprints is composed of concentric circles. The fingers are proportionally much longer than in humans. Aha!
All right, so wait a minute. They have 4 fingers only, but you said they have opposable thumbs, so it's a thumb and 3 fingers.
That includes the thumb, so yes.
Okay.
I said their hands have 4 digits.
Okay, so 4 digits.
Fingers.
All right.
Including the opposable thumb.
Okay, I had always heard they only had 4 fingers, not thumbs. But this is contrary.
How do they open a doorknob if they don't have a thumb?
I don't know. I mean, it's like
if they don't have a thumb, they're like
I watched
cats.
E.T. pick up freaking Reese's Pieces.
He had a thumb. E.T. had a damn thumb.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did.
Okay.
He had a thumb and
right.
3 fingers. I'll be right here. And the feet consist of just 2 digits, but a necropsy soon determined that each toe was made up of 2 fused digits.
Okay.
And the endoskeleton is very similar to ours, at least in terms of composition. There's collagen, hydroxyapatite, But copper oxide crystals, where marrow would normally be found, the role of these crystals not been established, but it's not a crystallopathic condition. The blood cells of the myeloid lineage. Let me know if I start talking above you.
Okay. You
I can read it. That doesn't mean I know what the hell it means.
Yeah, I know.
Therefore, mature in different location than in humans. In the thymus-like organ. I don't know. I just felt dirty. So this dude, whoever this was, went into great detail about what these things are. There is mention in here that they, in fact, are very genetically similar to
monkeys.
What?
I don't know. I'm guessing at your cows.
That's a cow.
What? Oh, I thought you were like trying to pronounce a word that started with M. I didn't get the cow reference.
If I did that, I would go
That's what it sounded like you were doing.
No, I went
Nah, you didn't.
I did. This is what aliens are made of. Maybe.
You got to post that, by the way, if you haven't already.
Do I?
Yeah.
Do I?
I just want to. I want to read
this. It's kind of dry. Did I spell that right? I think I did. And you can, read it. And I don't know if they'll take it down again or not. But apparently, and even the weird thing was that even the moderators on Reddit were like, we don't know why it keeps getting taken down. The problem again here is that you can tell AI to do whatever the hell you want, right? I mean, you could tell AI to write a thesis on what little green men are made of.
Yeah.
And it would write something that would sound coherently like this thing does. And who the hell knows what's real and what's not anymore? I don't know.
Where political correctness...
Joey, you ever seen a grown man naked?
...comes to die. Watch and listen at thedailymojo.com.